Hi. Thanks for coming to journal with me today. As you probably know, I've been having a rough time for a while now, in what I assume is an attempt for my brain to protect itself, and to help me get through the difficult things that I've been feeling and experiencing. I started to think about things that brought me a lot of comfort as a child, or things that I feel a certain amount of nostalgia for. For some reason, one of those things is an address book my mom had. It was a hardbound ring binder with a little bit of a cushion in the cover, and it had a blue striped cloth cover, like covering the entire thing. I remember always thinking that my mom's handwriting was particularly pretty, and I really envied it. I asked her multiple times, trying to figure out how she managed to get it so pretty, and she told me that she didn't always have nice handwriting, and that she practiced a lot as an adult to make it something that she liked. I think it's interesting that I've tried to do the same thing more recently. Something else that's been stuck in my brain lately is the Palm Pilot that she had. It probably wasn't a name brand Palm Pilot. In fact, after doing some internet deep diving, it definitely was not, but that's what we called it. It was a digital planner system that also had some games and some other things on it. I remember the screen was backlit green, which was a little strange to me since by the time that we got it, I had a Game Boy Color. And so the green backlight was definitely a little bit of dated technology by that time. Maybe that's how they were able to make the screen so large while keeping it more affordable, because the screen was probably almost the size of my Game Boy Color itself. Maybe I'll write an entry in my book going into the history of those devices, the digital planner systems. I think it could be really interesting. Around the same time period in my life, my dad got an iPod. I think it was probably the third or fourth generation. It didn't have buttons around or above the scroll wheel, and I'm pretty sure it had a color screen. I remember thinking that it was really cool that he could just whip out this little device from his pocket and listen to whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. He commuted long hours at the time, and I think he might have downloaded audiobooks as well. I remember how heavy that iPod was, and how the case we had for it was too big and definitely for the wrong generation, since it had thinner plastic around the areas where buttons would otherwise be. Related to technology at this time, I have a story that was absolutely terrifying to me, but is really funny now. One day, my parents left my brother and I alone. I think I was probably 8 or 9 at the time, and my brother would have been 11 or 12. So it wasn't super strange we were being left alone. They were only going to be gone a few hours. I think they must have gone to Costco or the supermarket or furniture shopping, who knows. It was something like that, something that would be a few hours, but in the middle of the day, not that far. Anyway, I'm downstairs watching TV when I hear the most terrifying noise that I've ever heard in my life. It was like a metallic scratching, but it wasn't sharp. It was almost like two pieces of heavy machinery were clanging against each other. It was the same loudness of our electric garage opener, but it wasn't quite the right sound. I completely froze, turned off the TV, was really hoping that it was just the TV malfunctioning or something, but then the noise happened again. So I sprinted up the stairs, grabbed my brother, and I made him listen, and we were both so freaked out. I remember him being very brave, and he went into the garage to see if it was coming from in there. Like maybe someone was managing to force the garage door open or something. Needless to say, it was not. After a few more rounds of noise, silence, noise again, we realized it was coming from inside, and we finally pinned the source of the sound as coming from around the TV itself. We looked and looked, and we tried to see if there was something weird with the TV itself, or maybe one of the devices connected to it. Eventually, on top of the DVD player, we found a black box that was maybe the size of a deck and a half of cards stacked on top of each other. And it had a cloth cover and a clip. We had no idea what to make of it. Neither of us had seen it before, but it lit up and kept vibrating pretty regularly. We realized that the noise was happening because it had been resting on its clip on top of our aluminum DVD player, and the vibration is what was making that noise. We waited for my parents to get home, and I remember they laughed a bit and explained that it was my dad's beeper for work. This is so funny to me now, but I still feel deep sympathy for small me. I don't know if any of my friends had video game controllers that vibrated at that time. I think some of them might have, but it was definitely newer tech. And of course I would have been scared hearing something so loud. That vibration was powerful. I also had no idea my dad had a beeper and had never seen one in real life until that day. So that was a wild little memory to relive. My dad was also the first one in our family to get a smartphone, though of course that came much later, and it was just for his work, so we couldn't touch it or play around with it or anything. All of these memories lead up into my video game nostalgia that I've been experiencing as well. So I've got a list in my book of the different handheld Nintendo systems over the years, some little doodles as well. I know there's more systems, and I know that there are more models, lots of little things in between. I think there's like a little multiple portable Pokemon Pikachu items that I didn't include. But those are the main items that I either had or really stuck out in my memory. I have a soft spot for any handheld gaming system, especially since the Game Boy Color was my very first gaming system. I think it's really incredible that something so small could carry around such a big world inside of it to explore. I had so many accessories and attachments for mine. Had like a magnifying glass, a little light, of course, trading cables, things like that. Maybe I'll draw out some of those. Those are fun. I've found those recently while I was cleaning things out, and that was a nice little nostalgia trip. I really enjoyed leaning hard into that nostalgia and reading and playing media that I enjoyed when I was little. By exploring the media I liked back then, I've uncovered memories like the one that I mentioned above that I had totally forgotten. It makes me wonder just how much our brain can actually hold. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you were able to journal a little bit too, or you at least had some good company with me. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.